Jared Polin, phronosphoto.com, and this is a live rapid-fire critique of Mr. Sam Green's work. I have critiqued I helped Sam with his portfolio when he was trying to get into Antonelli Institute. When he was a high school kid, he sent me his work. I helped him figure out what to do to get into the school. Now that he's done his first year at Antonelli Institute, I decided to go ahead and have him come in so that I could interview him on Raw Talk, episode number 53. Check that out if you haven't. And then give him a portfolio critique of some of his best first-year work. And now I'm thinking back to my first year work after looking at yours. I haven't looked at it yet, so this is all the first time I'm seeing it. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing well.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm very curious to see what you have to say.
So they're in the order you want them to be in?
I didn't really have an order of importance.
This is a building.
It is.
Is this in Philadelphia?
Somewhere downtown. I don't remember which building it is now.
Okay. It's not sharp.
That's why it's not a giant print.
Oh, seriously? You're going to say that to me?
Yeah. Well, I can be honest with you.
Then that should not be in your portfolio.
Okay. Well, it's a good conversation, though. We can talk about it.
But you just said, I look at it and say it's not sharp, and then you go, that's why it's not a big print? Then tear it up.
Okay. You want to tear it up?
No. I'm not being a dick. I'm saying it like it is, though.
Right.
If that doesn't work out, then if it's not sharp, that size, don't keep it in your portfolio. Right. And I got to remember, this is first year you're printing this in the darkroom.
Correct.
How did you do this in the darkroom?
That one I brought because that was experimenting with. I used a paintbrush to brush the developer on instead of just dumping it in.
Right. So this is like a zombie walk?
Yeah, it was that she's actually graduated last year from Antonelli.
It's interesting. What'd you shoot it with?
That was shot with a 4x5.
You shot a portrait on location. Is that why it's not sharp? It's sharp on her sleeve, not her eyes.
She moved.
That's why the 4x5 may have not been the right choice for that.
I had to do portraits for an assignment, so.
A couple things on printing. You do not really have a high contrast filter in there. You probably had like a 1 or a 2.
It was probably like a 2.
Yeah, I can tell. My style, that's what I look for. Right. To me, it's very flat and plain. Obviously, the focus is off, and please don't take any of this too harsh. This is a critique. Absolutely. This is what you do. For anybody out there, Sam can take it. That's why we're just going to say it like it is. If it's not sharp, it's not usable. This, again, isn't sharp, so it's not usable. Contrast is off, but I like what you did with the painting technique of painting the developer on instead. So you painted it on the whole print?
Yeah, I went through the normal process of put it under the enlarger, figured out my times, did 1.5 million test strips, or whatever, and then instead of putting it into the big tank of developer, I took just a normal tray, put the print in that, and then just it was like a 4-inch paintbrush, and
well, that's cool.
Just goofing around with some different things.
That part's cool because not a lot of people try doing this anymore. They do it all on the computer.
It was.
I just wish it was in focus. Well, this is cool. Tell me more about it. What'd you shoot this one with?
That was shot with my D600. I want to say it was probably my 51.8. That was there in southern New Jersey, an Antonelli graduate by the name of Jeff Burks. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work. He's been published in National Geographic and things. He did a workshop on night photography.
Mm-hmm. So you went?
So a roommate and I went, and this was one of the images that it placed in the photo comp at the end of the year.
This is really cool. I like you've got trails of planes moving, because I guess that's the blinking of the lights as it's moving across the sky. The composition is fantastic. Shot this way or cropped?
I think it's not cropped. I straightened my horizon. I'm pretty sure it was a little crooked, but
okay. But I love all the stars. It's a great image because you get the lights from a distance. It was at Atlantic City or something at a distance. I don't know. It's
facing directly south. I know that.
I'm not really sure. Print
somewhere in Maryland, I guess.
Did you convert this to black and white?
Yes.
Does that printer not have a good black and white capability to print? Because it might not have. When you're printing with inkjets, you got to be careful because this has a green tint to it.
Yeah.
I love the photo though.
Thank you.
I like this photo a lot. Here, you put them down on the floor gently. I don't want to ruin your prints. Is this 4x5? What'd you do here? Or did you just scratch a bunch of negatives?
This is actually a product of everything in photography going wrong. This was shot with a Holga 120N at night, with 400 speed black and white film.
Just
and
throw it on the floor before I throw up, please. And that's a fail. That's not good, Sam.
It won first in fine art.
Are you kidding me?
I swear.
Fine art.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I'm not ripping on you. That's not my bag.
Well, it's on a wall, so it's
this
important.
is nice.
Thank you.
This is nice. The one before that you showed is really spectacular. I'd rather have you win for that night photography one than that fine art mess up.
Yeah.
My personal preference.
Understandable.
Some people may like it. Obviously, somebody liked it that they voted and you won. But this is nice of the Skyline of Philadelphia. What's it shot with again?
That's with my D600.
How much did you crop this?
It's a panorama. It's like 6 images.
Really? Because it is not sharp. It's not. I can see like pixelation of the buildings. You think that's the printer?
I
like
really
it from
sure.
a distance, but I don't like it close up. I like the buildings in the foreground. I like the major city skyscrapers. Steve, if we need to reset cameras, just let me know. Yeah. I like what's going on because I like the playground here. I like that part. But getting close, there's something we got to talk about with... It shouldn't be this low of quality. Were you on a tripod?
Yes.
And you took multiple shots?
I want to say it's like 6. It was like 3 of the buildings.
They should be
and 3
much
of the
higher
sky.
quality than that. They should.
Yeah. Maybe it's the way it printed.
Maybe it's the way it printed.
I don't.
Maybe something messed with the pixelation, because it looks. You can look at the buildings.
Yeah, I do see that.
This is great color. You didn't print this in the darkroom, did you?
That is. It was shot
This is
on
inkjet.
4x5, but it's printed. It's on
Inkjet.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to make you guys print in the darkroom 4x5 to see actual prints instead of just hitting Control P. I've got a comment I think about your matting. Is this what they want you to do? Thicker on the bottom and thinner at the top, or was it whatever you want?
And I guess I could have done what I wanted, but that's sort of the standard for what everyone was doing.
I don't know because I haven't matted in a long time. It sucks that they make you matte because matting just looks so passé, in my opinion. Fantastic contrast here. Nice focus. I love that you can see the lips behind the bubble. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're going for? Or that was just one of those happy things?
Yeah, it's just sort of what happened. It was just one day in class, her and I had just, I guess somebody was chewing gum and just, it was like a half an idea. And so we just were like, let's try it.
This is extremely sharp. That's what you get from 4x5. The colors are great. Your lighting is very nice. One light?
I believe, it's just one light.
And it's constant
It was
light.
first semester,
so it's a continuous light.
One hot light.
Right, because first year you're not doing flash. I like it. That's nice.
Thank you.
That's strong. Crooked glasses for a reason?
It wasn't intentional, but it works.
It works.
She's a pretty goofy guy or girl.
She's looking like she's Crazy Eyes from The Orange is the New Black. Have you watched that yet?
I haven't watched it
All right.
yet.
Well, this isn't the podcast, so we can't talk about that.
Right.
This is a rapid fire critique. Well, this stuff is much better than where we started in high school. I can tell you that much. Colors are nice. The tone's nice. It's nice to see that you went from a high key shot to a low key shot. Nice lighting on her. Focused nicely on the eyes. What'd you shoot with? a D600 again.
That's with my 600.
This one isn't full frame. It isn't done with a 4x5.
Yeah, that's just with my DSLR.
Right. Looks good. It's off to the side. You were going for that?
Yeah, it was a while ago. I can't honestly remember exactly what I was doing, but
it's interesting. It's not the worst thing in the world, and it's not the best thing in the world.
Pretty informal shoot.
Yeah, but it's not bad. 4x5?
Yes.
Because of the focus. Is that a scratch in the negative, or is that a... what is this anyway? What are we looking at?
It's actually a miniature house it's called Morris Arboretum.
It looks like a miniature house.
And I was kind of going for like a tilt shift type of deal
and
with like really throwing it
Mm-hmm.
to give effect of like questioning whether or not it's a big house, a little house.
And I have to remind people that the images you're seeing, this is first year stuff that they only do black and white. They didn't do color yet. Correct?
Correct. I don't know how to speak. Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. This is interesting. I like that you tried it.
That actually, we did a contest.
You do a lot of verticals. I've just noticed. Not a lot of horizontals. Anyway, what were you going to say?
This was actually, so we went, as a part of Drew's class, we all went to the Arboretum.
Yep.
And, on a field trip, and we had the whole like 4 or 5 hours or whatever to just explore, shoot. And then we did like just a best print contest.
Cool.
And that actually won first place.
All right. Did you actually print this one?
Yeah, that's in the darkroom.
Nice.
I printed about 20 of them.
Glossy. Looks good. I like the printing. Nice contrast. This is you baked it a little longer with your exposure.
I want to say it's split filtered.
Split filtered. Really?
If I'm not mistaken.
So what you're telling me is that you probably use like a 3.5 to 4 here and about a 1 or a 2 on the sides?
What I did was, I can't remember the times or whatever, but it was, you'd first do one with like a lower filter, maybe start with the...
I don't even remember because I've never done it.
I can't remember, but you would do one filter at a time to set up the highlights, and then another one at a different time to set up the shadows.
So this is inkjet, right?
Yes. That's a scanned 4x5 negative.
Right. Oh, that's why it's so thick. That's why, because you scan the negative, and what the grain that I'm looking at here is literally grain getting picked up by the scanner, which is fine. Interesting. I mean, the image to me isn't very interesting. It's just a bunch of stairs with some shadows and some. I find that the pipes and the wall may have been more interesting. What were you going for? Anything in particular? You just had to try the camera out.
It was. That's at Eastern State Penitentiary.
But there's so many better things to shoot at Eastern State Penitentiary.
I thought it was an interesting shot.
Okay, that's all that matters. I could be wrong. Remember that. And I just, again, don't take... This is how critiques work. You sit there and people question your work. That's what they do.
You're allowed to. You have an opinion.
And it doesn't mean that it's right.
Right.
So Eastern State Penitentiary, you have cells to shoot, you have hallways to shoot.
That place is awesome. I recommend going.
That's why telling me that, I don't like it even more that you tell me that this was at Eastern State Penitentiary, because there are so many, and with photography, it comes down to shot selection, picking the right images for your book, and picking the right images that, I mean, yes, you pick what you want to pick, but sometimes you have to go, well, if I was telling a story of Eastern State Penitentiary, then I want to see the actual penitentiary.
Right.
But everything, the exposure and everything is spot on with that, and that's all that matters too. Well, that's one thing that matters. All right, so tell me more about this. Is inkjet again?
Inkjet shot with a DSLR. That's a part of it. For photojournalism class, we had to do a photo book. Shoot photojournalism, and that was the only requirement. So I did it on the bicycling community of Pittsburgh. And so there's an indoor bike
So you did a photo
there.
story. And this is just one selection.
And that was just one of my favorite shots from it.
Okay. Is he sharp, or are you focused on his chest? His eye's sharp, isn't it? I think it's a slower shutter speed because there's some motion there. This is available light?
Yeah, it was. Might have been a flash.
That's probably why you have a little bit of that blur. But it looks good. Perfect timing capturing it. I want to see more contrast personally. I want that brick to pop. Looks good though, and you get the context of the ramps in the background and the ramps here. So that is a good contextual photo that can stand on its own. Composition's right on.
You're about 14 minutes in.
All right, thanks, Stephen. And then we've got, this is the last one. Another vertical. You had very few horizontals in here. Just as an observation. What kind of shoe is that?
It's made by Chrome. They're actually cycling cleats that look like normal shoes.
Now this is solid contrast. I like the selective focus right here. What were you shooting this with again?
This is again the 4x5.
So why isn't it? Is this printed 4x5?
It's printed digitally.
Well, I know that, but I mean, it's not full frame, or is that full frame?
It's 4x5.
Got it. I'm just trying to see the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Well, this is great with 4x5. I mean, it's a little different to have the shoe up top opposed to at the bottom. I don't know if anybody's talked about how it weighted. It may have created more interest at the bottom.
I don't know if I shot any at the bottom, but I know the teacher and
said the same thing.
We've talked. I want to say he told me to put it up there. I think I had it further down at the bottom to begin with. We went back and forth about it.
Well, if it's an advertisement. If it's an advertisement, you have plenty of space right down here, so that works absolutely well. I would have liked to have seen both just to make a judgment to have
Yeah.
both. But really nice tack, sharp focus. I see what you did with the 4x5 so that you have this area is focused with your tilt and shifts, and this area is blown out. For anybody that doesn't know how the 4x5 works, you have your tilt and shift. It just rotates and it moves. And what happens is whichever light hits the plane, that's how the focus changes because it changes how light hits it. It hits it here quicker than it hits here. One place is in focus, the other isn't. You have a select point of focus, but the printed inkjet, I said, right?
Yes.
It's solid. Great contrast, great black and white. The scans look great. So your exposure is right on. Continuous light again?
Yeah, once again, this was just hot lights.
So
they didn't let us use strobes. for
No, that
this.
works out very well. So
Yeah.
I saw a lot of still lifes. You did a lot of still lifes and a few with people in it. Actually, it's actually a pretty good... You had 3 with people, 4... it's a pretty good split. It's much better than where we started out, Sam, going to high school.
Yep.
I hope
Thank
I didn't
you.
rip you too hard. I mean,
No.
the ones that you put on top are the ones that you should shred because those were the ones that you knew were out of focus or
Right.
not quite ready to go. These are solid. The ones that you mounted and took the time to do, they're solid. Your contrast is nice for the most part. Your exposures seem to be spot on. I think you're doing a great job. Okay, we're back here. We had a little bit of we found out what happened when the Zoom dies. It cuts you off, but we're going to wrap up this rapid fire critique. I appreciate Sam bringing this in. And remember, yes, I was being a little harsh. I was just being straightforward. I understand that he's a first year, just completed his first year in college, and I take everything into consideration. But the way that you get better is you point out certain things so that he gets it for this year that, look, if I take a picture that isn't sharp, I'm not going to show that to a professional, or I'm not going to show it to anybody because it's not sharp and it shouldn't be in my book. So those are some of the things to talk about, but you are on the right path. Your exposures are great. Your printing is very good. It's much easier for you guys to do printing on the computer than when we were in the dark room and we had to make changes. You have it a little easier, but it's not saying that one way is better than the other. You just aren't faced with, we had a color dark room. We had to go into the color dark room and tweak the color additively, subtractively, depending on which enlargers you were on. You guys go in the Lightroom, you make your tweaks, you hit print. And that's fine. Your colors are going to look spectacular. I love seeing real prints, but I guess you guys are out of that for now. Great color, great tones. Some of them I think need to be pumped up more, but they were usually on the ones that weren't that good of images, that were not sharp and shouldn't be here. So very solid. We're going to be critiquing my own first year's work at some point as well, so you can see that how I did and that I'm going to rip the crap out of it as well, because that's just what you do. You rip the crap out of your own work when you go back and look at it. Sam, thanks for bringing in your portfolio.
Not a problem.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Was that feedback too harsh?
No, not at all.
It makes
That's
sense?
the only way you learn.
Got it. I can't take feedback very well. All right, that's it, guys. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.